Okay, think about it. We live in a world of screens, of data clouds, of, well, digital everything. So you'd think that one of our oldest materials, paper, would pretty much be a museum piece by now. But what if the exact opposite is happening? The global demand for wood pulp and cellulose isn't just surviving, it's absolutely exploding.
I mean, that's the question we've all had in the back of our minds for years, right? We hear about paperless offices, we use digital tickets for everything. It just feels logical that the need for paper would be tanking. But that assumption, as it turns out, misses the real story completely.
And here's that story in cold, hard numbers. Look at this. Far from shrinking, the global pulp and paper market is climbing, and it's climbing steadily. This data from Statista isn't showing a little bump. We are looking at a massive, multi-billion-dollar expansion over the next decade. So the real question is, if we're not using it for printing and writing, where on earth is all this demand coming from?
And that is what this explainer is all about. This demand isn't coming from the old places. It's being driven by these powerful new forces that are reshaping our world. So let's break down the 3 new pillars of the pulp and cellulose economy.
This chart right here just completely reframes the whole industry. You can forget your grandfather's paper market. Today's growth comes from 3 main areas: the boxes that show up on your doorstep, the hygiene products we all use every single day, and, get this, even the clothes you might be wearing right now.
Let's start with the one you see every day: e-commerce. Every single time you click Buy Now, you're creating a demand for a box. And when billions of people are doing that, the need for cardboard, paper wrapping, and all that pulp-based packaging just goes through the roof. This isn't just about convenience. It is a fundamental shift in how global logistics works, and it's all built on paper fiber.
Okay, the second pillar is a little more personal. As economies around the world grow, and as the global middle class expands, so does the demand for hygiene products. We're talking about tissues, paper towels, diapers, sanitary products, you name it. And they're all made from wood pulp. And this number really gives you a sense of the sheer scale we're talking about. Per capita, how much tissue we use is climbing steadily, all around the globe. It's this quiet but absolutely massive driver of cellulose demand that's directly tied to global standards of living. All right, now for the most surprising one of all. And honestly, this might change how you look at your own t-shirts. The fashion industry, in its big search for alternatives to cotton and especially oil-based fabrics like polyester, is increasingly turning to the forest. So if you've ever worn something made of viscose or rayon, lyocell, or modal, you've basically worn a tree. No, really. These are all cellulosic textiles. Wood pulp is literally dissolved and then spun into these soft, breathable fibers. This is a huge disruption in the market, creating a brand new supply chain that goes from the forest floor all the way to the fashion runway.
Now, all of this points to a much, much bigger story. What we're really watching happen is a global shift in materials. It's like a great replacement, moving away from things made from fossil fuels and toward things made from biology. And the star player in this new bioeconomy is cellulose. I mean, we all know the problem with plastic, right? It comes from a finite resource, fossil fuels. It pollutes our oceans and even our bodies with these tiny microplastics that just never disappear. And it sticks around for centuries. This has created a massive global push to find better alternatives.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. Look at this comparison. It's renewable versus non-renewable, biodegradable versus persistent. And this is the crucial part. It's part of the living or biogenic carbon cycle. It's not releasing ancient, trapped fossil carbon into the atmosphere. This is exactly why innovators are so focused on cellulose.
But hey, this isn't just about swapping a plastic bag for a paper one. The really unique properties of cellulose are opening the door for a whole new generation of advanced materials, stuff that goes way beyond what you might expect. We are seriously entering a new age of material science here. Scientists are using something called nanocellulose to create super strong, crazy lightweight composites. They're using bacteria to literally grow pure cellulose for medical uses, and new chemical processes are creating fibers that can be stronger than steel. The future really is fiber.
Of course, an incredible demand like this creates incredible pressure. We can't talk about a boom in forest products without talking about the forests themselves. This has massive economic and environmental consequences that have to be managed, and managed very, very carefully.
So let's be really clear about the central challenge. Figuring out how to meet this soaring demand for fiber without destroying our forest ecosystems, well, that's one of the most critical sustainability tests of the 21st century, full stop. And the stakes here are unbelievably high.
This is a sobering reminder of what happens when demand gets ahead of responsible management. The risks are real, and they're concentrated in some of the world's most vital ecosystems.
But here's the other side of the coin. Alongside that risk, a huge global governance system has popped up. You've got forest certification schemes like FSC and PEFC that prove to consumers where the wood came from. You have investors using ESG scores to punish bad actors. And you have powerful new regulations like the EU's deforestation regulation that are forcing companies to prove their supply chains are clean.
Because where there's risk and regulation, there's also enormous economic opportunity. We're not talking about a small market here. This is a global industry worth trillions of dollars. And you better believe that attracts serious capital, money that's looking for sustainable, long-term returns.
And you can see the financial world is definitely taking notice. These things called timberland investment trusts, or REITs, have become a really popular way for people to invest directly in this trend. They're seen as a safe bet against inflation, and at the same time, a direct play on the growth of this new, green, bio-based economy.
So, after all that, where does this leave us? We've seen how all the old assumptions about paper are just wrong, and we've seen how this powerful new bioeconomy is rising up from the forest.
We have officially busted the myth of the paperless world. The reality is, our reliance on cellulose is only going to grow. It's becoming a foundational material for our future. So, the question we really have to ask ourselves now isn't if we'll use it, but how we're going to manage this incredible resource.
And this, right here, captures the whole thing. The entire promise of a greener, bio-based economy, one that finally moves away from fossil fuels. It all hinges on one single thing: our ability to get forest management right on a global scale.
Look, at the end of the day, cellulose has the potential to be a cornerstone of a much more sustainable world. It's renewable, it's biodegradable, and it's unbelievably versatile. But, and this is a big but, as some academic sources are starting to warn, we could actually face a shortage of this critical raw material. So the final question really is ours to answer. Can we innovate, govern, and invest smartly enough to meet this massive demand without exhausting the very resource that provides it? That is the defining challenge of our fiber-based future.